A couple of you have asked, how do I export an armature from a Unity-based game? So today, we'll do exactly that using the game Peak. We will load the game's root folder into AssetRipper GUI, export that as a Unity project, bring it into Unity, locate the prefab that we want, export the corresponding armature, and ultimately bring that into Blender, where you can view and manipulate it as you see fit. You may want to do this for a couple reasons, perhaps educational, you just want to see how the developers structured the rig, or you may want to use it as a reference point for your own customization and modding efforts. So before we get into the tutorial proper, let's briefly define an armature. In 3D modeling like Blender or Unity, the armature is the skeletal structure used to control a character's movements. The armature is made up of connected bones, each of which control part of a mesh. Now, let's make sure you have all the necessary software so you can follow along without having to lose momentum on an install later. So do it up front, get yourself AssetRipper GUI, Unity 6000 F1, the FBX exporter package for Unity, and Blender. You'll also need to make sure you know where your Peak root folder is. If you're using Steam, you can just right-click the game in your Steam library, click Browse Local Files, and it'll bring you to a folder where you should see a Peak_data folder. That's the root folder. If you're not using Peak, or for whatever reason, if your folders are just structured differently, you're looking for the folder that contains your game's .exe. That will be the root folder you'll want to be able to navigate to when we are in AssetRipper GUI. First of all, we'll need to pull the game into a Unity project. So as our starting point for this, go ahead and open AssetRipper GUI, click File, Open Folder, and navigate to that Peak root folder that we just identified. Once that is loaded in, you'll be able to select Export, Export Project, and choose an output path that makes logical sense to you. From there, go ahead and open Unity Hub, select Add, Add Project from Disk, and navigate to the output that you just created in AssetRipper GUI, and open up that project. And again, we are in the editor version Unity 6000 F1. Within the project tab, in the search field, type character T:prefab. From those options, go ahead and select character_0 prefab asset. In the inspector window, select open. If it is not already expanded by default, you can expand this scout object here to find the armature. Within this hierarchy, select armature, main mesh, shorts, skirt, and sash. So you should have 5 total things selected. Click game object, export to FBX. If you don't have this option, then you need to install the FBX exporter package for Unity. Make sure your option selections match mine. Specifically, make sure your export format is binary so that it is compatible with Blender. Give it whatever file name and file path makes logical sense to you. Click Export. Then open a Blender project. Remove that default cube. Click File, Import, FBX. Navigate to that file path you just created. Click Import FBX. And you'll notice we had quite a few assets come along for the ride here. To isolate the armature, within this Scene Collection pane, select this pose by this green wireframe. Under Viewport Display, you can select In Front. You can also input keyboard shortcut Shift H to hide some of that clutter. And we now have the armature. If we want to pose it, we can select pose mode and select these joints. Click R to rotate. And if you need to, push A to select all and click Alt R to reset your changes. And there you have it, an armature from Peak available to you in Blender for manipulation. If you found that useful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment so I know what the community is interested in seeing more of.